Hey everybody, this is Miguel from ActiveTvNetworks and YoungEntrepreneursHub.com. Today we've got an amazing person. That's our guest, and that is Miguel Brada.
Thank you.
He's my good friend. I met him a long time ago. I think I started his business somehow. I'm just joking. Before we get to Miguel though, I want to show you guys a book that I read. It's called Throwing Sheep in the Boardroom. It's a really good book to read if you're into social networking. It teaches you all about Wikipedia and some great stories about all the famous websites out there. So pick it up, the chapters on our website. All right, so Miguel, thank you for coming in for the interview.
Thank you.
Miguel is one of the most persevering entrepreneurs that I know. He's the owner of the Vanity Superstore, BoraBoraDesign. He's a wholesaler and a distributor, and he creates his own vanities for luxury bathrooms. And we're gonna go and start the interview now by asking Miguel about himself and his business.
Okay. My name is Miguel Brada. I'm the co-founder and CEO of BoraBoraDesign. As Marcin was saying, we design our own bathroom vanities, and we have our own brand of faucets as well. We manufacture and we distribute our products to stores in Toronto and the other locations in Ontario, as well as the faucets. We also design custom orders for architects, developers, builders, and so forth.
I always ask everybody this question in the beginning. What is your definition of an entrepreneur, and do you think you are one?
An entrepreneur, I think it's someone who has a vision, sees things in a different way, someone who's willing to take the risk of putting his time and his money into an idea with a good business plan.
And do you think you're an entrepreneur?
Absolutely. An entrepreneur is also someone who has the ability to withstand criticism and failure and keep going. It's not always easy, but there's good and bad times, and you just have to keep going.
Yeah, you got to persevere. So, the industry that you're in, it's a little different than most of the people that I interview. So, how did you get into this industry, and is this something that you always knew you wanted to do?
Well, I actually didn't know I was going to do this until before we signed the corporate documents.
Okay.
So, the idea came from me and my ex-partner of starting to import a different product. But that idea wasn't very good because there was a big competition, and there's something called dumping fees that would apply to that product, and it's very competitive, so it would be really hard to grow on that with that product.
Okay.
Because I was already in the construction industry and I was designing a few models here and there for other people and drawing a few cabinets, the idea came up of getting into this business.
So when you're saying designing and creating, you actually mean you draw it and then you create it in 3D space and then you manufacture it yourself, or do you have other people do it?
Oh yeah, I have a background of architecture technology, so they gave me some experience on design and drawing and an idea of what all the components needed to make this product proper to be stable. And we also had a friend from Barcelona that was in this industry, and he actually gave us some good contacts, and we put our money together and took a chance.
It was a good chance. All right, so
it worked out pretty good.
Why did you decide to do this over importing another product?
Like I said, it was a little bit by accident. this product was something at the time there wasn't a lot of competition.
What is different about your vanities?
Well, it's different from everything that's out there in the market, and the quality is outstanding. You can, for a vanity that you get from me for $600 plus anywhere with the same quality, double the price.
Okay. Can you pen your laptop so we could see some of the vanities? Because you're in your store right now.
Yeah, we're moving to a bigger location now.
Okay.
The place is not fully furnished, okay. But I can show you some. There's one right here that you can take a look at right now.
Just so we could see the different types.
Yeah. So this is one of our newest models. You can see it's gray in color, and it has a rectangular glass bowl. That's something you don't see anywhere.
Yeah, I've not seen this anywhere. Now we're comparing this to, you know, we're in Canada, so we're comparing this to all the major stores like Home Depot and Lowe's, and none of those stores have anything like this. And when I first met Miguel, I researched eBay and the internet to get these types of designs, and so when I saw his name on the internet, I think I found him on Craigslist, I called him up and then I saw his warehouse and I saw very impressed by the price and the quality of the product, and that's why I was a return customers.
You can see even our faucets are very unique.
Right, yeah, they're
not something you see in your regular store, bathroom store, right?
Yeah, and everything is to code. For instance, if any contractors wanted to purchase any of your things, do you have all the paperwork to make sure that, you know, it's standard and fits with the building code and all that?
Yes, absolutely. Like we've been gathering a lot of experience throughout the time. Of course, we made a lot of mistakes in the beginning. That's where education comes in, where it's important to have knowledge about import, export, brokerage fees, and because a lot of surprises can come when we're importing products, right?
Okay. So how important is networking in your industry?
Well, if you're in the wholesale and distribution, networking is extremely important because if you have a great product and you can't put it out there, you can't really sell it, right? I think networking is very important, so you get to know the key people in this industry.
Okay. And what do you think is the coolest thing and the worst thing about what you do?
The coolest thing is having someone emailing me saying that they're very happy with my product and they will recommend me to everybody. Then I have their friends coming in and buy my product and saying the same thing.
It's like you got a piece of Miguel at every house.
Exactly.
And what's the worst thing, would you say, about running this type of a business?
The worst thing, there's a lot of bad things that can happen, like receiving the product damaged, or but one of the things that I hate the most is that even though I sell my product cheaper than my competitors, there's still people that walk in and try to bargain on the price. That's one thing that I hate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know how you get over that, but I guess it's something everybody has to deal with, haggling, I suppose. Okay, so why don't we talk about Miguel? Let's go back when you were younger, when you were in high school. Tell me about what you were like. We have a lot of high school and elementary students watching this, so we want people to be inspired. So what were you like as a kid?
Well, I was very active all the time. Sometimes I was a bit of a troublemaker, but I was always involved in a lot of things like music and organizing events in school. I was the president of the Students Association.
Okay.
So that was, I can say that was kind of like my first business, because I raised a lot of funds for publicity and sponsors. I had bands coming into school to give me packs of fries and candy and all that. I started to promote myself to be the the president of the student association.
Oh wow.
I think that business part was a little in me already. And of course, my parents, they always had business, so they had a lot of influence too.
Okay. So talking about your parents, were they supportive?
Yes, very supportive.
And what would you say to parents who aren't supportive because their kid wants to do something different?
Well, I think before they criticize, they should analyze their kid's idea or vision and be supportive. Because that having supported parents, it's a big influence on your future. If you have an idea and you want to do something and you're strong about it, you feel strong about it, I think you should go for it, and your parents should always be supportive.
So did you experience a lot of positive energy and feedback when you decided to launch this current business from your friends and family? Or people looking at you thinking, I don't know if this is going to work?
Well, I heard a lot of people calling me a dreamer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like people outside of the family, some people said, oh, you're a dreamer, you think too high, you want to do too much. But I think that's the only way you can get somewhere is to take the risk and dream. You have to dream to make plans for your future.
Right. Plus, the bigger the sacrifice, the bigger the reward, is what they say, right?
Yeah.
So, did you have any really bad experiences in any of your little business? I keep saying little, but they're not little. Every business that you do is a big business, right? So did you ever have any setbacks? Anything failed miserably, and then you were depressed, and you didn't want to pursue it again, but you continued? Do you have any stories about that?
Yeah, that was I had a restaurant when I was 19 years old. That was my first venture, like a real business. And it did quite well for a while, but eventually I closed it down and decided to come to Canada. And
so we didn't mention where you were born. You were where? In Portugal?
Yes, I was born in Braga, a city called Braga, Portugal.
Okay.
And I grew up there most of my life. And when I came to Canada, I was 23 years old. And I had very little money when I came here, and the first money I made, I invested in a clothing store.
A clothing store?
Yeah.
Your clothing store or somebody else's?
No, I opened a clothing store with...
So you went from a restaurant to a clothing store. Okay.
But the clothing store, it wasn't in a nothing fancy. It was a small clothing store. It was about 1,000 square feet. But it was a nice boutique. I had some really nice clothing there, and good prices too. And was giving some money, but because I only owned 25% of the store, I couldn't really do any major decisions. And eventually, I sold my share.
Okay.
And after that, I decided to study and finish my course. So I finished architecture technology, and I was working for a construction company for a while, and I got to from worker to foreman to supervisor until eventually I opened this business.
Okay. So you keep referring that you own a little part of this business and a bigger part of that business. Would you say that it's important to create partnerships when you're launching businesses like this?
My advice, if you can do it on your own, do it on your own.
Okay.
Partnerships can be hard sometimes, especially in small businesses. I think partnerships work well when there's on big corporations who have a proper business plan and managers to manage the stores. And you just sit down in the conference room to make major decisions.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you were younger, what did you want to be?
I wanted to be an Air Force pilot.
Okay. And did you ever pursue that, or?
No, not at all.
No. In 5 years, when you're finished with this business, you can be at Air Force. You can buy a whole fleet.
Yeah, maybe later, and I'll do that.
Make your own planes.
Now to do with the army is a little too late.
There we go.
Yeah.
How important do you think education is versus smarts when it comes to doing business in this industry?
I think proper education is very important because it'll give you an overview of the business and like for example, anyone trying to get into this business, I would advise some architecture background because it's very useful. Some import-export certificates so you don't get any surprises on custom fees or dumping fees, shipping. And street smarts is very important too because in my case I learned a little bit how to read people, you know, and how to keep people always in a positive state of mind because I think that's half of the sale done.
Right. Yeah, so it's a little sales and marketing and psychological strategy there.
Exactly, yeah. So if you combine both, that's great.
Okay. Words of wisdom by Miguel.
I'm sorry?
I said words of wisdom.
Where's the wisdom?
Words of wisdom. So what do you think separates a good idea from a bad idea? There's some kids right now sitting in class and he's like, I'm going to be importing this. Planes, maybe.
You know, I think there's really good and bad ideas. I mean, I think a good business idea is one with a strong business plan. You have to study the product, study the market, do some good market research, see for your competition, see how much you have to invest, and see the profit. And you know, a bad idea is just an idea without a foundation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you offer any tips to anybody who wants to start a business but just doesn't know how to get started?
Well, first of all, see what you like to do, the things that you like to do the most. Like, if you like snowboarding, for example, you can import snowboards, snow boots. You know, I think that if you do something that you like, you put your mind more into it, you know, dedicate more time into it. If you just come up with the idea of importing phones and you hate phones and you hate technology, you won't succeed because you won't know what you're doing.
Right. Now, success doesn't happen overnight. I'm sure you've had your struggles, and I know you stay up long hours just like I do. So how difficult is it for you to balance business life versus your social life?
Well, sometimes it can be a little difficult because you overwork, right? You do a lot of hours, but I mean, I have a lot of energy. I can work 12, 16 hours and still go out and get up the next day with the same energy.
Yeah, me too. I don't know. We're just robots, I think.
So, yeah.
Adrenaline is our fuel.
Yeah, we're using jet fuel.
Okay. So now, not every person wants to be an entrepreneur. So if anybody wants to be successful in their job, you know, or be a business leader, what 3 things would you recommend for any person to put on their resume?
Well, you need to be presentable. Study whatever job you're getting into. If you're selling perfume, study about perfume, what is it made of, the type of bottles.
Do your market research. Do your research, essentially.
Research first. So when you approach the person who's interviewing you, be ready for any question they might ask you related to the job and the product. I think that's key.
Okay.
to stand out on a job interview.
Okay, so what's Miguel's secret to success?
Hard work. Work hard.
That's it?
That's the secret.
That's the secret.
That's the secret.
All right, so what's the next step for you? I know that you've been approached by different investors. They want to invest in your company and you've been struggling with making a decision. So what's the next step with you, an expansion of your store and your brand?
Well, the next step would be I want to be stronger in the retail, and so we're opening a new store on May 1st, and from there we'll start opening some more.
Okay, so franchise model.
Franchise, yeah. Okay. We want to create the IKEA of the bathroom stores.
The quality IKEA.
Quality IKEA, exactly.
There you go. That was the missing word. All right, so if you could travel back in time and see yourself as a 7 or a 9-year-old Miguel playing soccer in the fields of Portugal, what would you tell yourself?
Stay out of trouble.
Well, I mean, whatever you've done, obviously it's worked pretty good, so.
Yeah, it's working out pretty well. I'm in a good place right now, and things are going pretty well. We have some new stuff coming in. The feedback from the customers is good, so it's looking bright for me. Okay,
perfect. So we're gonna be wrapping up. If anybody wants to learn more about you or your business, where do they go?
Oh, they can come to our store. I'll be happy to give some business tips to anybody who wants to start a business.
Okay, so Miguel's gonna have his own account on YoungEntrepreneursHub. We're also, if he has a Facebook, we're gonna link it to his Facebook, and of course, we're gonna link it to your website.
Very good.
All right, Miguel. So that is our interview. So I hope everyone's somewhat inspired. If you're in the Toronto area or anywhere in the GTA, feel free to stop by his store. Visit BoraBoraDesign.com. Right?
All right.
Okay. Thanks, Miguel, and everybody else. Have a good night. This has been Marcin Miguel from YoungEntrepreneursHub.com.
You